Hello boys and girls, welcome to the Library for Arts and Crafts. I'm Miss Susan and I'm glad you've joined me today. We're going to be making a Groundhog Day project. I've got my little groundhog puppet here. Whoop. And he is popping up out of the ground to see if he sees his shadow. He looks around and if he sees his shadow, that means there's going to be 6 more weeks of winter. If he doesn't see his shadow, then it's going to be springtime, and I can turn it around and have grass there instead of snow. I'll show you how to make this little puppet. All I used was a little toilet paper tube roll, and I needed some brown construction paper to make my groundhog, and I used white paper for the snow and green for the grass. You also will need a little popsicle stick or a pencil or something that you can tape to the back of your groundhog so that you can push him up and down out of the ground. So let's get started. First of all, you'll need a ruler to measure. This is a little math that you can do. You'll want to measure your grass and snow. And I measured the length of my toilet paper tube here, and it's just a little bit over 4 inches. It's 4 1/4 inches long. And I want my snow and grass to cover half of the roll on each end. So I'm going to need them to be a little bit over 2 inches long or wide. So I'm going to put my ruler there and just take a marker and mark about 2 1/2 inches on both my green and white paper, and that way they can overlap a little and it'll cover up the whole tube. So I'm going to cut a strip, and it doesn't have to be really straight because then I'm going to make it a little ripply, just like the snow. And it looks like kind of a snowbank. So there it is, and then my grass, I'm going to do the same thing with it, and I'm going to cut it into fringe like grass. And I'm going to go all the way down. This is probably way longer than I need it to be, so I can even cut my paper a little bit shorter. Let's see how long I need it to go around. So I'm going to put it on my roll it around, and I really only needed about half that. I can go again though. I can go around, and that's fine. And then just tape it closed. Little piece of tape there to hold it. And then I'm going to wrap my snow around the other end. And just overlapping a little bit is fine. I might even put a piece of tape in there to hold it just inside, and then I'm going to roll all the way around, roll, have the snow poking up a little bit taller than the end of the toilet paper tube, and then tape it on the back just like that. So now it's all secured onto my tube, and now all I need to do is make my groundhog. Now I'll need the little stick and some tape after I cut out an oval. You want to do a little, like an egg shape, about that same size as an egg for your body. You can draw it ahead of time or just cut it freehand if you think you can. You don't want it to be too wide or it won't fit in the tube. So I'm going to make mine a little skinnier here than I originally had it. And there's my groundhog, his body. And then you'll need a circle for his head about the size of a ping pong ball or a little bit smaller than that. And then we'll have to do his ears, and I made them about the size of a dime each. So there's his little head, and the ears, they're pretty small, and I'm going to fold my paper in half so that they come out the same size. So I've got a little square here. I'm going to fold it in half, and then I'm just going to cut 2 circles together this way. They'll be the same. And there there are his ears. 1, 2. And you know, Groundhog Day is coming up February 2nd. So I'm showing you how to make a little groundhog just in the nick of time. Now I'm going to need my glue, just a little dab of glue, and I'm going to put that on his body. And then the ears, I like to glue them to the back of his head. So there's his head on his body, and then I put one ear on like that, and it just kind of pokes up from behind his head. And then another dab of glue for the other ear. There he is. And he's going to need a face. So I'm going to put eyes and a nose and a mouth and those long teeth he uses. Let me get my marker. A black marker or a dark brown would show up. So there are his eyes. I did a little triangular nose and his mouth with his teeth. There we go. And now I just need to tape him, tape a popsicle stick to the back of him. And I want to make sure it's low enough where I have a lot of the popsicle stick down below his body so that I can really reach up and push him up out of his little den. So here he goes. He's going to come up and see if it's, oh, he's not dry yet, so his ear got knocked off. See if it's going to be 6 more weeks of winter on February 2nd. He's looking around. Now the whole history of Groundhog's Day originated with a springtime festival. A long, long time ago, there would be all kinds of springtime festivals around the world, especially in the European countries, and so they started having myths about animals coming out of hibernation to see if it was going to be springtime soon or if they were going to have a longer winter. And this book, the Groundhog Day Book of Facts and Fun by Wendy Old, is a great one that tells you all kinds of information. And I marked a page here because it explained something to me that I didn't know. I always wondered why, if the sun is out and he sees his shadow, there would be more winter coming. It seems like if it's sunny out, it would be warmer, but that's not the case. Evidently up north where it's very cold and snows, when it's sunny out, it's usually cold and dry in February, and so that cold air means it's probably going to be more winter time, so the groundhog will see his shadow on a sunny day, and it's probably a cold day. Whereas if it's getting warmer because spring is almost here, then it's going to be probably a little overcast with a lot of moisture in the air and cloudy, and he won't see his shadow, so springtime should be coming soon. That's how that all started, and it explains that right here with this little groundhog. I always was confused. It just seemed like if it was sunny out, it should be springtime soon, but that's not the case. In February, it's evidently cold and dry. Now here's a really funny story. I love this one. Groundhog's Dilemma by Kristen Reminar. This one is funny because Groundhog, of course, comes out of his den to look and see if he sees his shadow, but he's not really in control of the weather. He's just predicting whether or not there's going to be 6 more weeks of winter. But all of his friends think that he actually has control over the weather, and so they start bribing him with all kinds of favors and baked goods. Somebody bakes him a pie, somebody else lets him on their baseball team, thinks he's getting to win the race. Anyway, they're trying to make sure they get the right results next year about winter, whether they want to have winter or spring, and he's trying to convince them that he has no control over that. So that's a good one. I also like Groundhog's Day Off by Rob Perlman. This one's funny. Poor Groundhog again. He's so tired of people asking him the same old question about whether it's going to be 6 more weeks of winter or spring will be arriving early. So he decides to take the day off. He goes on vacation. They're going to have to find somebody else to predict the weather for them. And then this one is Go to Sleep, Groundhog by Judy Cox. And Groundhog can't sleep this year. He ends up seeing all kinds of things that he's never seen before, like jack-o'-lanterns and turkeys for Thanksgiving and holiday lights. So anyway, he ends up finally realizing he better just get to sleep or he won't be able to wake up for the big day in February. Finally, he does get to sleep. So come in and check out some other Groundhog Day books as well. I've got Groundhog Weather School too. That's a good one. We've got lots more. Come and see us at the library, and hopefully you can make a groundhog puppet to help you predict the weather on February 2nd. Happy Groundhog Day!